Welcome back, everybody. So I'm very excited to introduce my next guest, engineer Omar Mullah, fitness chef, restaurateur. Good evening, engineer Omar, or should I call you Chef Omar?
Whatever works for you. Good evening, Dr. Dalal.
Good evening and welcome to our show. Chef Omar, first of all, introduce yourself and talk to us about yourself, please.
Right. Well, we go back since school, so I won't go into that. You obviously know me. So my name is Omar Mullah. I have a bachelor's degree in engineering from the University of London. Did my, obviously, bachelor's in medical engineering, got a minor in biochemistry, and then did my final year dissertation in biomechanics. Came back to Kuwait and did all of my clinical training in pneumatics and spirometry.
All right, so Chef Omar, all of those has completely nothing to do with health and fitness. So what was the turning point that made you start? I mean, I follow you on Instagram and I see you, it's a complete change of the Omar that I know. So what was the turning point and what changed your life?
Well, during my, should I say, studies back in London, I became a bit of a gym bunny. So started going to the gym, started working out, and just kind of went into that complete facade. Naturally being, should I say, rubbing off on that culture, it gave me a complete insight into the whole, should I say, fitness training, fitness nutrition aspect. And that was basically a pivotal transformation for me.
And where did you get the most of your education regarding health, regarding the diet and fitness? Where was most of your education came from?
Honestly, I need to go back to my roots. It was definitely in London at the time. But like any, should I say, experience in your life, it's an accumulative effect. It's an accumulation of different experiences throughout. So it started off in, should I say, late 2003, and it continued till this very date. Again, you're always learning new things as you go along.
So how different was it when you came back to Kuwait, where we are a nation of fast food, where we don't have a lot of gyms, possibly at that time? Right now it's booming, and where our fitness education or our diet and lifestyle is completely majboos.
Okay, fair enough. Starting off, if we say that obviously it's a complete culture shock as far as the fitness side is concerned.
I can imagine.
When I first came back, it was not surprising to know to notice that there were plenty of misconceptions as far as dieting and fitness food. Even the entire concept of healthy lifestyle was not existent at the time. Naturally, this is ever occurring, yet even with this, should I say, change in mannerism, there is still a lot of misconception between, should I say, the fitness community in Kuwait as far as nutrition is concerned. We see the two different spectrums. We find people that are starving themselves to lose weight, and this is not either healthy, nor is it a reality. It's not something that you can actually continue in. And you find the other spectrum of pro athletes competing in international competitions, and they're kind of going into that extreme of, should I say, extreme dieting and losing any kind of interest in following through their regimes when nutrition is concerned. Obviously, we don't even need to mention the aspect of taking steroids or hormones and all of that issues.
All right, and Omar Mullah, also from following you from Instagram, I'm seeing that you are making traditional Kuwaiti food fitness related.
Yes.
So how did you come up with that?
Right. Well, this was basically coming back to it. Invention, should I say, comes from a need. I'm a big fan of Kuwaiti food. No matter how much I spent time abroad, especially all around Europe, it always comes back to our very authentic flavors.
We're always nostalgic to home food, of course.
You can't help yourself. So coming back to it, I just decided to create something completely unconventional, whereby I can create traditional, authentic tasting Kuwaiti food using healthy ingredients. 2013 was declared the year of the quinoa by the UN. and it goes without saying. So
Did you join the quinoa fad?
I am.
You are on the wagon.
I'm definitely on the wagon, and you know what? I'm the one that's writing about it nonstop. I'm absolutely in love with this pseudo cereal. Naturally, quinoa is considered to be a seed and not a grain, but you can treat it exactly the same way as you would a grain. Naturally, it's extremely high in, should I say, amino acids. A cup of quinoa has about 3 times or 3-folds the protein content of normal, should I say, white rice. It contains the 9, essential amino acids. It's considered a complex carb, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Has an amazing taste, a very robust, euphoric taste, if you will, and you can easily adapt it into, should I say, the authentic Kuwaiti dishes in order for you to maintain that balance between, that very, should I say, close to home taste, while at the same time maintaining your diet.
Now here I'm going to have to really, take a pause. How can you create the taste of our lovely Kuwaiti food, which I can't have enough of?
You've noticed on Instagram, in my restaurant, lately we launched Machbous, which is, should I say, the most popular Kuwaiti dish out there. So the whole idea is like we took the Machbous, which is the concept itself is based around the flavoring of rice. Completely adapted that form. Naturally, when we're making machbous, we need to use a certain type of chemical.
Herbs and
the herbs and the spices are fine. When you come to the broth, which is where you get that, should I say, explosion of taste, we decided to replace it with a European counterpart, which is extremely rich in potassium, very low on sodium, and then it is extremely rich also in unsaturated fats.
All right.
So we kind of like reduced the calorie content by 50% there. Adding, to it, we used, instead of using rice, we used the quinoa.
All right.
And it should I say, came out surprisingly well
So,
as a trial.
speaking of flavors, can we show one of Chef Amar's video, please, showing us one of his delicious meals, please? So can you tell us what are we having over here?
Right. This is a very classic marination. I'm basically doing this is a textbook marination for a rosemary steak. This is my own improvisation.
You must have inspiration. Who cooks at home? Who has the taste of?
Well, honestly, I have to give credit to my late father. He was an amazing chef.
So rest in peace.
Thank you very much. And naturally, my mother also picks up on that really, really well. So I think it's a genetic thing, and we are mullahs, we just love to cook. So I picked up from there and, kind of adapted and did my own thing as far as, my, should I say, dietary or nutritional needs.
So you basically incorporated that in your life?
More or less.
Is it too late for us to start making those yummy things?
Honest to God, it's never too late. It's never too late for you to start.
And I'm seeing that if you're having a steak and if it's protein related, as a female, I also worry, am I going to get buff or am I going to get muscles by eating a lot of proteins?
Naturally, women consume less protein than men do by default. So I wouldn't worry about gaining too much muscle.
So I can enjoy that steak.
You can definitely enjoy the steak.
Which you did not bring with you tonight.
Oh, well, you're always welcome to visit anytime you'd like. And I'll be more than happy to prepare one for you myself. As you can see right here, I'm doing a classic flambe. Naturally, when we get the tenderloin and after we finish the marination, and we missed the part where I added the rosemary, that's basically
the flavor,
the herb which gives you that authentic English flavor. As you can see right now, we're using an extra virgin olive oil to simmer any fat that was on the tenderloin. So we're trying to reduce fat content by as much as physically possible using all of these different smart cooking or culinary techniques. And then from the flambe, it just goes straight onto the open grill.
So now you are proving me wrong that diet food does not taste bland, that it actually tastes good. It looks good.
I can promise you it tastes even better.
And what about the nutrient breakdown? So if I'm going to try to watch my weight and watch how many proteins and carbs, how can you get that from like cooking or from?
Usually, I'm not a nutritional scientist, so I rely on a certified nutritional clinic based in Cologne in Germany. So I send them my recipes and I send them all of my ingredients, and they do all of the calculations over there.
Wow.
As
It's certified. So when you say it's fitness, it's not just coming out from our kitchen, it's actually coming out from a center.
Exactly. And we're all about labels, and we need to, label it right in order for the consumer to get, the correct information. Even though, personally speaking, as a natural bodybuilder and as a fitness fanatic, I am not the person to count calories. This is an outdated, practice. If we come to it today, it's more about grammages. My weekly cycle will be based on a day count of my carb intake and my protein intake. So, for example, for someone like me, 90 kilograms, muscle content, fat content around 15 to 16%. I would be going, if I wanted...
Wow, that's the end.
Please.
That looks amazing.
Thank you.
All right.
So, for example, in a dish like this, the protein content would be, if you have a 250 gram steak, we're talking about a good 100 grams of protein, and then, not counting, the broccoli. The broccoli is an extremely rich vegetable and protein content. And then obviously we have the simple carbs, the mashed potatoes, but that can easily be replaced with complex carbs.
In case, of course,
if you're looking to minimize your weight, naturally, complex carbs are amazing. For one reason, they help you reduce weight, and this is something that not too many people know about. So when we say complex carbs, we're talking about, brown rice, whole grain rice.
I'll just be cutting you off. Can we put the next video while we are speaking, please? So for having to lose
weight. So if
weight.
we're talking about complex carbs, we're saying things like brown rice, whole grain, cereal, oatmeal, quinoa, sweet potatoes. All of these carbs are extremely healthy because naturally they will give you glycogen, which is the fuel that you need for your muscle and obviously for brain activity. They help, your blood glycemic index, which in turn helps you lose weight. At the same time, it also helps the natural secretion of insulin, which is the major anabolic hormone, which is extremely important for anyone that is bodybuilding or doing all of these vigorous endurance and heavy types of training.
All right. We're having
this is a clean food delicacy, orange glazed salmon. The salmon is one of those foods that will help you reduce weight. It's extremely rich in unsaturated fats. This recipe originated from Belgium, and I had quite a delight harassing the chef in the hotel that I was in until he actually gave me the recipe. It's absolutely brilliant because you can actually caramelize an onion without the need. Naturally, caramel or toffee, you make it from sugar. We use the natural fructose in oranges to create that very sweet, pungent taste that you would get from caramel, and it's considered an extremely healthy delicacy.
And does that take long to prepare?
Give and take 20 minutes, but really quickly. So we want it to be cooked on a very low to medium heat, and then you don't want to speed up the process of the the caramelization of the orange, because that will just
spoil it.
It will spoil it, and you'll end up with a very dark piece of salmon. Or very burnt.
All right, and so how can you manage having your own work as an engineer, gym, your own restaurant? How can we manage?
And also managing my late father's company.
All right.
So between all of this, first of all, appreciation.
We'll give that as an advice for our viewers, since we're almost running out of time.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciation goes to God for this one, for giving me two wonderful people in my life. First of all, my mother, who is my rock, and then my business partner, Mrs. Valentina Trapiskova. And these two wonderful ladies are basically, such an inspiration. Again, much appreciation goes to the family and
So after a great man is a great woman.
of course, naturally. So these two people have, so much inspiration for me. That being said, the guys, the fitness community in Kuwait has been so supportive, and this is what basically keeps me thriving to keep on coming up with, new innovations and more intuitive nutritional solutions.
All right, so Chef Engineer Omar Mullah, thank you very much for coming to our show. I loved it. The time was not enough.
Thank you so
but
much.
It's really been a pleasure having you.
The pleasure was all mine, Doctor.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed today's or tonight's show as much as I did. So I hope to see you again next week, and I hope